Well, hello everyone. Tonight is the 17th of October 2019, and as you can see, I have a brand new setup here. Few minor problems. You'll notice there's kind of a green halo around me. I'm not sure what I can do about that. I've been working on that for a couple of hours and a couple of other things. So if you'll forgive me for the few minor little things that we have here, I'll appreciate that. Also, I was told that I have the wrong output, and I checked my settings and it's not, so I'm not really sure what they're talking about, but it looks like everything's okay. And of course, the important thing is how's the sound? Will everybody let me know if the sound is sufficient so that you can hear what I'm talking about? Like I say, this is a new setup. The background won't always remain the same. It depends on something. Roy's an alien. Yeah, hi, Liza Jean. Yeah, that green halo is really, really hard to get a hold of. I've messed with the camera a few times. The green screen kind of bleeds through for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But we'll just go with it for the night, and I'll try to work on it again in the next few days and try to get it fixed. You know, the background kind of fits. All of my backgrounds now for Nightcap will have a night scene of some sort. Just so you know, this is Waikiki. Came back from there, quite some time ago, but I took that night picture and I thought, this is a nice night shot. So there we are. And I hope you enjoy that. I have a couple of other things for you tonight. It looks like Trump got through his rally without anything major. I guess there were a couple of little scares that happened there, but nothing major. Like I said, if you watched my video today, it was it's questionable what's going on. I'm not going to say anything was stopped or even that something was going to happen today, but I think, of course, that we all realize that it's a very, very strong possibility that they will try to do something to Trump in the next little while because the impeachment thing isn't going to work either. Anyway, we'll just have to watch that. There are so many things going on. Who really knows what to do right at this point? Now, a lot of you might be wondering, let me show you this picture up here. This picture that's right above me right there. We're going to be talking about that today. I'll give you a little bit more information about what that is. I put it up there because I feel it really is important because the DOJ is still out of control, and we'll talk about those things so that you know what the deal is. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. What we're going to talk about, of course, is the evil that's coming against you. And a lot of people, they don't like me to do this scriptural stuff, but it's type and shadow. It's history repeats itself. It's the same thing over and over again. Every generation has its own tests, right? So I wanted to say this, and where I got the title for this video is Matthew 5:11. It says, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for his sake, for my sake." And of course, we're seeing all kinds of that right now on all sides of the spectrum. Matter of fact, we're going to talk not just about what's going on with the Democrats and the leftists and the rhinos, but we're also going to mention some things that are going on with what would appear to be conservative constitutionalist Christians who are making false accusations against people, very, very serious ones. And we're going to talk about that. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. Okay, so with that little introduction, I got to tell you this thing that happened to me. So I'm out on a walk the other day, and you'll never guess who I ran into. I mean, this was absolutely crazy. Okay, it's the last thing I thought I'd see. October 16th, and I'm out walking, and you'll never believe who I ran into. I ran into Adam Schiff. No kidding, I ran into Adam Schiff. He was right there, and I couldn't believe it. And so he was trying to get away. You know how he is. He likes to slither around and serpentine around so that he doesn't have to answer questions that might be indict him, so to say, I guess, that might put him in some trouble. But I managed to get a shot of him just as he was leaving because he wouldn't talk to me. I just thought I'd show you this picture. Here we go. So there's old Adam Schiff, just that old slithery, slimy snake. I think there are snakes that are easier to deal with than that guy is. Looks like I'm a little loud here, so I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Hopefully that'll be better. So there you go. Now, why did I do that? Because that type of a joke, when you're being told that something really serious is going on, you pretty much gotta give the punchline pretty quick. Or you can be a bad source of fake news. It can get out of hand. So there you go. So hopefully you all weren't texting or telling people, "Hey, Potter saw a Schiff," and then see the picture and realize that I'm just pulling your leg. And but it really is like Schiff, isn't he? He really is, very, very much so. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that. I guess. The other thing I'd like to mention real quick is this situation with Tulsi Gabbard. The Dems and the leftists, of course, are attacking her left and right. And I have a lot of appreciation for Tulsi. I think she's really upfront. I think she's really good. I probably wouldn't vote for her depending upon the circumstances, because I do have a problem even with her late-term abortion caveat, which is okay, but she still goes for those other abortion things, which is a problem. But her position on the Second Amendment is a big problem, of course, because she, being a military, should know that the only way you can protect yourself against criminals, be they in the government or otherwise, is with the right firearms. The question is how do you keep firearms out of the wrong hands? Well, the only way you can do that, as I've said before, that's really effective is, as Jeff Cooper said. You'll notice I don't have his little thing up there. That the felon or the tyrannical government must be made to fear its intended victim. So the way that intended victim makes sure that it puts fear in the felon or the tyrannical government is to be armed, and that's the only way. And you've seen my little thing with Colonel Jeff Cooper from the U.S. Marine Corps who said that. So Tulsi, we need to talk. Of course, that's not going to happen. But if you saw her in Tucker Carlson, you'll see that they're really trashing her. They're saying that she's a Russian agent because she wants to cut off the wars like Trump does. You notice that these Dems, they've turned into murderous liars. It's just amazing. And not just them. There are rhinos that way too. Look at Lindsey Graham. He's done some great things, but he's also caused some problems. He was McCain's shadow there for a long time. So there are some problems with Lindsey Graham, and I recognize that. Okay, hold on. I just saw a question. Let's see. Roy, can you boost sound a bit? Okay, yeah. I don't want to go up too high because I don't want it to overmodulate, but I'll boost it just a little bit, okay? There we are. I better not go any higher than that or you'll be getting a lot of scratching, okay? And I don't like that noise at all. See how that is. Who was that asked me that? See if that's a better one, okay? All right? Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Tulsi Gabbard. I sent her a Twitter today telling her how much I appreciate her, and that other than her connections with the CFR and her position on the Second Amendment and also on the situation with abortion. Okay, great, Spiral Bear. Oh, Spiral Bear, how you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see everyone here, actually. Okay, so I wanted to just give her a thank you and give you all a heads up. I think she's really got a lot of good stuff. I don't know if she could figure out the financial things with the markets and the trade agreements and all that, but with the right help, she probably could. I don't think she could do any worse than Trump in a lot of ways, actually. Okay, so there's one other thing I want to play tonight before we get too far along, and that is this. Pam Jones, as you know, has made several intros for me, and she's been really great. She did it for when I was doing the Potter Expositor, and she's done another one for my nightcap. I just want to show it to you. I really like it, and I just wanted to do it mostly to honor her and to show you what she's capable of doing. So let me play this for you. I find it kind of interesting. I might use it for my intro, at least on occasion. But let me play it for you. Let me see what you think. Here we go.
And we have an army, as a soldier and as a general, as a retired general. We have an army of digital soldiers. Told here, but we have an citizen army journalists as a soldier and as a.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you again to Pam Jones for that, and I will keep it here, and I will use it from time to time, Pam. Thank you all so much, and maybe you all can, put some information to her, thanking her also. She has the Pedophile Project. She's also been very much into the stratosphere aerosol injection. Of course, we know them as chemtrails. And she's been doing a great job. And we're going to talk some more about the pedophile problem a little later on in the presentation here. But I just wanted to show you that. I think it's pretty good. It's too long, Roy. Nice, but too long. And I know that happens. Maybe I'll use it as a break song. I'm not sure, but I just like her work, and I really appreciated it. Okay, let's go to the picture at the top of this because I want to get that done right now. I'm gonna blow this up. I want you to see it, and I'm going to place it right over here, and hopefully you can get a good look at it. And I'll scoot off to the right here. I realized some people were saying to me the other day, you're getting covered up by the thing. So I'll scoot over this way so you can see that I'm not totally out of the deal here. Why do I want to bring this up? Well, it kind of goes along with what I was talking about with the DOJ is still causing problems. They're still hiding exculpatory information. Barr has not got control of the DOJ, and of course neither does Trump. And it's a very dangerous situation. If Barr can't enforce good U.S. attorney, law enforcement, and what I mean by that is good due process, fairness in the courts, abiding by the rule of law, abiding by the Brady requirements, which means that if you have exculpatory evidence, you give it to the defense. If they do not abide by that, ladies and gentlemen, everything in our country is gone. And Barr is not doing anything. I saw a deal the other day, both headlines with The Voice and other people have said, where is Barr? What's going on? He might be looking at this stuff on what's happening with Ukraine and the different intelligence agencies of the different countries and stuff like that. But our DOJ is running wild. They're doing horrible things. They still are. And this is just one example. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on it because I haven't studied it enough yet, but I can give you kind of the background. In Salt Lake City on the 15th, this gentleman here, his name is, I want to make sure I say it right, forgive me if I don't, Rick Korber. Let me tell you a little bit about Rick Korber and what happened to him, okay? Rick Korber was a businessman, of course. He's got this wonderful family here. You can see he's a family man. He worked very hard. He did very well in what he did. He was an investment of some sort. And again, I'm not a financial guy, so I can't give you all the details on this thing. But apparently there was an ability for folks to make investments through him. And I'm not certain what was going on as far as that's concerned. But a lot of investments don't turn out well. You can invest in something and they tell you up front there's no guarantee that you're going to do well on this, right? And that's just the way it is. Let's make sure we still got a good signal here. Yeah, it's still good. Okay. So at any rate, Bran Thornton, as you know, was with me last week, and he talked about this sentencing that was coming up for Rick this week. And the Bundys were there. I guess there were, from what I gather, there were 100 or more people there to support Rick there in this situation. But it didn't turn out very well. He still got sentenced to 15 years. And in fact, the people that came said that the government claimed were victims. They were there again. Apparently, I haven't seen the court case. I haven't looked at the transcripts. I don't know what witnesses and victims were brought to the original trial. They were trying to get him for like three or four different times, starting at about 2009 apparently. And let me blow this up so I make sure I've got it right. And finally, the judges, the U.S. attorney at the time in Utah, that changed when Huber came in. Keep that in mind. Remember I said I don't trust Huber, right? And this is an example of why. And this isn't good for Barr either, because Barr absolutely set up the situation with to go ahead and try Flynn's partner, who finally Sidney Powell told us is off, because even the judge said that it didn't rise to espionage. But at any rate, they try to make the FARA violations into espionage, and it's not the same thing. But at any rate. So this gentleman, he had these different types of investment plans, I suppose. And, again, that's something that you do if you can. You may not be able to. It just depends on a lot of things. Well, a number of them failed. Well, guess what? A lot of people did around 2008, right? 2009. Well, at any rate, he was also involved in politics and was behind several different Republicans. And he helped them out, okay? And I'm just going over this real quick. This is something that, basically, this was a speech that Ammon Bundy gave this last Tuesday. But at any rate, it says here, on August 30th, 2007, remember, this is as we were working up to the whole problems with the whole crash in 2008. Rick's attorneys got a call from Wayne Klein, director of Utah Division of Securities, informing him the state Utah attorney's office was looking to indict Rick for fraud. Well, okay, so in short, what happens is it goes to court. All of the judges basically say this is ridiculous. There's no evidence of wrongdoing here. The real problem was that he had fallen in bad light with let me see if I can get her name, a securities person. Here it is, Francine Gianni, apparently, who is something to do with the Utah Department of Commerce, who had been caught doing some bad things herself. But she was after this Rick guy for a number of reasons. Again, I don't know all the details here, but I want to rush ahead to 2014, because in 2014 what happens is that Rick, who's a very good legal, he's not an attorney, but he's very good at legal research, and he helped the Bundy team, the Bundy defense team, throughout the whole thing, and a lot of the defense arguments were contributed by Rick Korber. Well, as you can expect, the federal government took note of that, and they didn't like it. They wanted their ounce of blood, their pound of flesh, and their ounce of, I guess it'd be more like a gallon of blood. So they tried to go after him again, and these things kind of mounted up, and several judges came on the case, found that it shouldn't go forward, but then they recused themselves. And I have a feeling that these recusals had something to do with threats made to them, probably from D.C. Okay, most likely. So because the Bundys, of course, he had helped the Bundys, and he was out in the open here. Well, they reopened this case that had been dismissed. I'm not sure. I saw that it was with prejudice, but it may have been without. I'm not sure. But they reopened it, probably with some other charges or whatever, and they went after him again. And again, what do? they hold on to exculpatory evidence. They don't allow it to come out. They don't fulfill the Brady requirements, and they railroad this very good gentleman who has this beautiful family, who has now been sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now, again, I haven't seen the court transcripts. I don't know all the details, but apparently a lot of the supposed victims showed up at this case, this sentencing, and said that they weren't victims. And a couple of them got very upset about what was happening. At least one gentleman did, and he was trying to. Basically, he got very emotional in the court, and the judge had the marshals take him out. They basically tackled him and hurt him, I understand. Again, it's coming out to where the government they will destroy people that stand up for liberty, for justice, for the rule of law. And this guy, as far as I can tell, again, I haven't read the entire case. I mean, I just didn't have time to do that. I'm going through with what Ammon Bundy has written here. So the bottom line is that one of the judges, Wadoops, who I actually know, recused himself for unknown reasons. Again, I think it was because they were getting these threats that they needed to back off the case because they were actually helping Rick. So they brought this judge in. Guess what? It's very similar to the Bundy case. In the Bundy case, they couldn't get an active judge to sign these orders. Dan Love couldn't do that. So he went to a retired judge, probably somebody who was, in Alzheimer's condition, senility, and had him sign it. He wasn't even a sitting judge. Well, in this case, they didn't have a federal court judge that's assigned to Utah. They brought this guy in from back east somewhere, and I don't recall where it was from. But at any rate, so it wasn't a standard sitting judge in the Utah district. They brought him in from the East Coast. And basically, with the excuse that, all these other judges had to recuse themselves, but they never explained why. Well, I think you can see the reason why. So, again, basically what they did is they suppressed, they refused to give the Brady material, the exculpatory evidence. They found him guilty. This was, I guess, earlier this year. And then the sentencing was on Tuesday. Very similar to the railroading that had been done to General Michael Flynn. On the day that Rick was sentenced, somebody who had lost her job suddenly showed up in the courtroom. And you know who that was? It was the lady, the Utah, basically the commerce lady, that Gianni, I've already forgotten her name again, Francine Gianni. She showed up for the sentencing. Just make sure that, her wishes were met. And a good man with a great family, like so many in this country, are sent to prison under the most ridiculous and unjust circumstances. So if you want to look that up, you can go to, I'm sure you can find it on the web. Just look up Rick Korber. His first name is R-I-C-K, last name is K-O-E-R-B-E-R. And I am certain that he's not going to get a very good write-up in the standard press, okay? He just won't. That's just the way these people work. But you've gotten a little bit of information now on the details, and I might have more later. As some other people get more information, I might have them on so that we can talk about it, okay? All right. Poor Korber family. Again, justice is a famine in the United States of America. And Trump and Barr, if they can't get it fixed, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the worst things that can happen to us. And it's tied in with the First, Second, and of course the Fourth Amendments. And so we have some really bad problems there. Okay. I might as well move on to, I did say that Huber was the U.S. attorney, remember? Huber's the one that everybody's saying, he's got all this good information that he's going to take down the deep state. Well, Huber's the guy who came in 2000, I think he took over in 2015, and he allowed this to go forward. Pushed it forward. I don't trust Huber. He doesn't have the benefit of due process and the rights of the American people uppermost in what he does, and I think this proves it. Okay, I'm going to jump to this other thing because I think it's important. Monograph, Agent 19, and some others have been doing a lot of work on the Timothy Holmseth, Field McConnell, and there's some other individuals involved. Well, if you're asking me, if you want to ask me what this is all about, the pedophilia bandwagon. Now, unlike Pam Jones, who has verified news items in her blog and in her .com, her site, and Craig Sawyer, and I know a lot of people have questions about Craig Sawyer, but he's for real. Okay, he is out there doing things. Unlike them, and I hate to say it, but Abel Danger, Field McConnell primarily, although I suspect that there are a lot of followers in the Abel Danger thing there that are taking this thing out of context and just taking it on face value without checking the facts, have accused many people of human trafficking and pedophilia. And without any evidence, making it up out of thin air, and claiming to be working for Trump and the First Lady and some other things. And I don't want to get into an argument with everybody about all of that. But what it does come back down to is this. Why are we, who claim to be conservatives and patriots and Christians, resorting to the same false accusations without evidence, as Monograph totally and correctly points out? Why are we doing that, and yet we want to hold the federal government and the states and the police departments, etc., accountable for not following due process and evidence? So we want the government to do all those things, but for some reason or other, these people who want to cry, and I'm not saying there isn't pedophilia and human trafficking. I know there is. Okay? I've worked in the area. I know it is. The problem is that there are people that will say these things without evidence for whatever reason, whether it's money, whether it's fame, or whatever. Timothy Holmseth, I understand, is at this point in time a fugitive from justice. He refused to go to a court hearing, so there's a warrant out for his arrest. He's saying, well, it's because the court is corrupt and all that. Well, as Monograph says, if you're not willing to stand up for yourself and defend yourself, how in the hell can you say that you're going to defend all these American people and against the pedophiles that are running the government? It's really ludicrous. Now, I don't have a personal vendetta against Timothy Holmseth, but in fact he did accuse me of being a pedophile because I supported Monograph and would not allow him to be attacked by Timothy and these other people that brought these ludicrous, without evidence, false accusations. So one of the main sins that you can engage in is bearing false witness. That's what it really says, is thou shalt not lie. It's really thou shalt not bear false witness. Okay, and they're doing it, and I'm very disappointed that Field McConnell fell into that and was willing to call me the same names that Timothy Holmseth is. I thought we had a little better understanding than that, but obviously that's not the case. So I'm just making a public statement here that's a lie. Almost everything that Phil McConnell, Timothy Holmseth, and there's some others, and I don't really want to get into a bunch of name calling here and giving all the information out. Monograph and Agent 19 have done a very good job of that. They've accused me falsely, and they've accused other people falsely, like this Kim Picazio, this attorney in Florida that apparently is a victim of a lot of this. So there we are. We're wasting time on fairy tales rather than going after the real pedophiles. And Craig Sawyer got into this fight the other day, and that's why I decided to bring it up tonight. Craig Sawyer got up and said, and that's why I talk about it in the description box there, he calls them fake news, libelous slanderers, libelers, I guess is what it is. And he's right. So, Craig, thank you for stepping up to the plate and calling this out, this one, and it's very true. And again, it's not that we deny that pedophilia isn't a problem, that human trafficking isn't a problem, but there are people out there who are making their fame and fortune out of this, and that's wrong, especially when you're doing it with false witness. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to move on from there. Okay. Let's talk about the Trump assassination scare. Okay. We still know that that's a possibility. All right. So you're going to have to keep your powder dry, so to speak. You're going to have to keep your situational awareness on high, all of that, because that could happen at any time. If you saw, and I suspect a lot of you did, Biden say, you know, they have to get rid of this president, and he said on the 17th, if that meant today, and it was foiled, or because it became so obvious, so many people were talking about it, or whether it means the 17th of November or the 17th of December or whatever, who knows? But the fact of the matter is they've made overt statements about that from Biden, Philip Mudd, Brennan, Clapper, everybody. Even the MSM, I mean, the MSM is CIA, of course. I wish Trump would finally make that connections for everybody, because it is the rogue IC that's controlling those things as I've talked about before. And what's the motto for my channel, ladies and gentlemen? What is it? The intelligence community is our most dangerous domestic enemy. Okay, and it continues so to be. Boy, that green halo really looks interesting. Doesn't it? I'm back there. I wanted to check it out real quick. All right. Next subject. Antifa and their goals. And it's very obvious. Well, what was this? Hold on a second. I got something here I need to check and see. Oh, okay. Got a message and I didn't even realize it. I want to go to this situation here that I read just the other day. I'll come back to that situation there. If I can find it, wherever it went. Oh, good grief. It looks like I've lost it. Here it is. Okay. You notice that, and we all know this, you notice that the leftists and the Democrats are always pointing fingers at the supposed violence promoted by conservatives. Well, we're getting a little tired of everything that's going on. But I want to read this to you from an Antifa, apparently maybe a leader in a local Antifa. It's about this threat was made, and let me just read it to you, okay? And I think you'll see what I'm talking about. One of the threats included a promise to bring out the guillotine to fix society. Do you see how this is, in fact, this entire leftist movement, and especially Antifa, is linked to the Jacobin movement and the French Revolution? Let me read this to you. Fair warning, the message read. Several community organizations are planning to shut down your showing on the Jordan Peterson propaganda film. While many of us aren't Christian, and some even flat out condemn the religion, we do not want any harm to come to your place of worship or those within. See, they're trying to be, we're concerned about you. But then listen to this. However, we cannot allow fascism to continue to rise and will not tolerate its presence in our city, whether it is on the streets or on the waterfront or in a church. Read some history books. Read about eugenics. Read about sex and gender, in the current PC culture, right? And then compare it to Peterson, who goes by the traditional values pretty much. Pray on it if you must. Do the right thing. As much as we joke about it, we really don't want to have to bring out the guillotine to fix society. Let me read one portion of this to you again, because we are too tolerant on the left, or on the right. Okay, we're too tolerant. We're hoping this all goes away because we don't want to get violent. They're going to push it there, ladies and gentlemen. You better keep your powder dry for your protection. Let me read it again. Quote, we cannot allow fascism to continue to rise and will not tolerate its presence in our city. Ladies and gentlemen, The division is happening, as I've talked about, the good and the bad, the good and the evil. And I have to tell you, we cannot tolerate the rise of evil, of communism, of fascism. Well, you know, they want to say we're fascists. We're not. You know, I said, the point is authoritarian government and the Chinese model is what these people want. Why do we tolerate it? Why? We have to stop. And in some cases, we've got to start acting. I'm not saying on our own. I'm saying just be prepared to defend yourselves, okay? Because that could, I mean, he's saying it right there. They can't tolerate us being out there exercising our rights under the First Amendment, and certainly not the Second or the Fourth. Along that same line, I brought up a story some time ago about Admiral McRaven, who called Trump out and said that he stood against Trump and that he needs to be overthrown, basically. Well, I saw on my Twitter today, and I want to read this to you. It's interesting who tweeted this out, and I'm not going to go there, but this is what he said. See, this is why I don't trust these upper generals, the flag officers. Admiral William H. McRaven, the person who led the special ops raid that killed Osama bin Laden, we already know there's a problem with this tweet already, right? Okay. Has a clear message to our nation, and this is a quote from this Admiral McRaven. Our republic is under attack from this president. Damn! They'll accuse us, they'll accuse President Trump of destroying the Constitution and the republic. No. They've had 60 years to do it, and they're the ones that want to destroy the republic. The whole idea of this entire impeachment, this entire attempt to overthrow the president, which is really, as I've often said, to overthrow the American ideals of freedom, liberty, justice, due process, and all of that. You can see it. It just happened. Didn't I show you? Right here. I just showed you right here with, right there. Rick Corber, what they did to him, what they tried to do to the Bundys. Who were the real criminals at Bundy Ranch? Hillary Clinton, Harry Reid, Eric Holder, Obama, probably John McCain, Corns, the head of the BLM, he was the head of the BLM, and all of those people that were with the BLM that went along with that rather than exposing who the real criminals were. The American people were trying to stand up against this criminal behavior. Thank goodness that Larry Wooten, the one BLM agent, was the whistleblower and told the truth. I wonder why nobody else did. Well, we all know why. Same situation up in Oregon with the Hammonds at Malheur and the uranium deposits there. And it's very, very high-grade uranium now that we've looked at it. We know that, which is why Hillary had it and wanted more of it. The situation, as you saw when Trump signed the EO the other week on the transparency in guidelines and enforcement, EO. I don't know if he can enforce that, but he needs to have enforcers in those agencies that only answer to him. And it really has to happen. It really has to happen one way or the other. So all of that is happening. And along with that, of course, the attacks on Giuliani and all the Trump supporters are continuing. Why is it that their side is doing us to expose all this? Trump and Barr are just letting them expose themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't strike back, they think you're weak. How horrible! Didn't I tell you that the OIG report would be postponed again? And it was. It was supposed to come out tomorrow, and now it's been postponed, supposedly the middle of next week, and who knows if that'll even happen. And there are still no arrests. Trump supporters, people are being like Giuliani, all these other people, Rick Corber, everybody. They're being attacked, to having their First Amendment attacked, their Second Amendment, their Fourth Amendment. They're being threatened, like Roger Stone, with criminal prosecutions, and the real criminals, we see nothing happening to them. Nothing. I don't understand it. Headlines with a Voice is saying the same thing. She's saying, what's going on here? Why hasn't Barr acted? Why hasn't Trump acted? Where are the Marines? Where is the Secret Service with all the threats against Trump? Why aren't people being arrested? The Republicans will say, well, we don't want to do all these nuclear options because, when the Democrats get in power, they may do the same thing to us. Ladies and gentlemen, if they don't act now, they're not going to have to worry about what the Democrats are going to do to them because it'll be done. The Insurrection Act needs to be invoked, and President Trump needs to start throwing these people in the brigs. Another example of what's going on. Do any of you watch Red Ice TV? Do you know what I'm talking about, Red Ice TV? Let me go over here and see. I'll get to the chat in a minute. Somebody's saying, Roy, it is being choreographed to see what the public does. I know, and we're doing nothing. I asked Trump to use Article 2, Section 2. I'll come back to all of these. We're going to go through the chat tonight. That's one of the things we're going to do. Okay. Do any of you know who Red Ice, what Red Ice TV is? Does anybody here know Red Ice TV? Have you watched it? There's a really nice blonde lady who's involved. I forget her name. Anyway, it's a fairly large website, and they have a YouTube channel. Liza Jean says yes. Cat Lady 58 says yes. Okay, Red Ice TV. Let me tell you what it's about. Red Ice, it's a group, admittedly, they're defending the rights of white people. Absolutely 100%, and I don't see a problem with it. The PC culture will say, well, white people can't be nobody can be racist against a white person because they're the power people, so that can't happen. Well, that's BS. And we're seeing these things happen in South Africa, where white genocide is being put into gear there. Where we're seeing the situation in the unmitigated invasion of Europe and also now of the United States. And with the goal, and they plainly come out and say it, to do away with the white race. Well, Red Ice TV would talk about the good things of white people and the good things that they've done. But that was considered to be hate speech. They didn't say the white people should take action against anybody. They basically just talk about how good white people are and that they shouldn't have these things, these people attacking people just because they're white. That's basically what they're saying. Well, they were taken down off of YouTube and out of Twitter, saying that their defense of themselves and of white people in general, which is really the defense of every race, if you think about it, they were taken down for what they called hate speech. Now, I understand that maybe that they've come back now, but they were demonetized and censored and then deplatformed. So this is the type of thing that happens if you want to speak your mind. We can't be silent, lady. We can't be silent, which is another reason why I wanted to stop on June 13th, because I just didn't see any point, right? But we still have to keep up the noise. We still have to say no. We still have to say no because, as I've talked about before, you must belligerently defend your rights. The court said that. That's a court decision. You must belligerently defend your rights. I'll leave it up to you what that means, but that's what the courts have said. They even said it to me. I've already talked about the delay of the OIG report, and I've talked about Admiral McRaven and him saying that the president is destroying our republic. No, the people voted him in, Admiral McRaven. The republic worked in that instance. You're the ones that want to destroy it, and he's coming out, as I said before several months ago when I pointed out that he was on that side, that he's making this stand because he thinks they're going to win. He is assured at this point that the IC, which he is a part of, obviously, okay, believes that it's strong enough to do this thing completely. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? They are. And Trump and we have to stand against it. You might say, well, Roy, we're always talking. We need the cover of competent authority. I'm telling you, you can't go out and do things on your own. You cannot. They'll pick you off one by one that way. They infiltrate your organizations. Even if Trump activated the Marines with and then brought other people in with Article 2, Section 2, they're going to be infiltrators. I know because I used to meet them in the active services. They were CIA embeds. They're evil, ladies and gentlemen. They're the political officers of the Soviet Army. That's what we're dealing with. So we need Trump to, he's got to stop apologizing. He's got to stop taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. When he makes a decision, he needs to stick to it, and he needs to bring people in that can help him to do this, because I'll tell you what, if they get him out of there, whether by hook or by crook, we're going to be in for the fight of our lives. Is that what we want? Trump, is that what you want to happen to us? You can't finesse this forever. You can't. Again, as Headlines with a Voice said, Nancy Morgan Hart, and she put up a video entitled this tonight, this has gone on long enough. Where are the Marines and the Secret Service? Okay, that's my basic information for tonight. I did it in a little over 45 minutes. Hit a lot of things there. I'm going to go to chat now and take some of your questions. And here we go. Start back at the top here. Okay. Huber's compromise. Oh, Headlines with a Voice, you're back. Thank you. If you'll notice, ma'am, I gave you a wrench. Okay, so you're a moderator. And I did that at Liza Jean's suggestion, if you've seen her on here, because she said I'd be able to see you easier with that. And it's very true. You stand right out. So thank you. And thank you again for all you do. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not subscribed to her channel, please do. And offer a few donations, if you would, please. Okay. Whoa, this thing's jumping like crazy. A lot of people on here, I guess. Not that many, but okay. I'm going to try to get to as many of these as I can. The innocent are railroaded and ruined, Galbeni says, for no good reason. He was not guilty. You must know about this. Galbeni is apparently talking about Rick Korber. She says, or they say, the innocent are railroaded and ruined for no good reason. He was not guilty. The 5 grand juries who found no cause were ignored. Exactly. Yeah, this person knows a lot about the details. The grand juries did find they didn't find indictable information. The evidence that exonerated him was withheld from the hearing, and I told you about that. Okay, that's what the DOJ does. They're not repenting, ladies and gentlemen, and Barr's doing nothing to fix it. He needs enforcers down there who will do something punitive against these people that do this in the Justice Department, the U.S. attorneys and their assistant attorneys, etc., and also the FBI, etc. Okay, what's the thumbnail all about? I just told you, tinfoil hat. It's about Rick Korber. Go look it up if you want. He was railroaded in a Utah court under U.S. Attorney Huber Oh, okay. Well, you're laughing, so I'm not sure what that's about. Private prison systems, yes, are about money. I agree. Roy, there's a war against Sinaloa cartel south of the border. Huge drug seizures in San Diego. Something's going on. Helicopter shot down. I'll look at that, Carol Reed. Thank you. Yes, there is a lot going on. We knew that they've been moving back and forth on that. But again, we need to take the people out in our government to start making arrests, because a lot of this is because of them. Okay. Scalise's turned a traitor too. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Maybe over the same thing that Lindsey Graham is. Is that what you're talking about with the Syria? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, so I'll have to check. I can't keep track of everything. Okay. Lonnie Barrett says, Woody Hayes, great work. Sees your work on X22. Pam Newton, well, let's get Trump to arrest, but if they don't have a clean case, it's pointless. Oh, there's more than a clean case. Listen to Judicial Watch. Listen to Tom Fitton. Listen to Chris Farrell. It's all there. It's all there. There's more than enough evidence. This whole thing about Comey, well, now they couldn't prove intent. Let me ask you another question, okay? Did they have to prove intent with Clinton? They say they can't prove intent. Guess what? Intent is not necessary in the statute of mishandling classified information. Brian Wilson, Tulsi's deep state rhino option to get rid of Trump. By the way, she is active military and going against President Commander-in-Chief. No, Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, I see what you're saying, Brian Wilson. There are some caveats with Tulsi, I agree. She's CFR too, okay, and I'm aware of that. She's in no position to take on Trump or even to run for president. There's no way that it would ever happen. I think she's sincere. As you're basically saying here, I think she's mistaken in some regards. Certainly, this whole issue in Syria, in my estimation, okay, I don't care what McRaven says. Oh, we're turning our backs on our allies and all that. Hey, we got to clean up our own home first. We can't be cleaning up somebody else's house until ours is clean, and that's just common sense. So Freedom Fighter 57 is talking about the Red Ice YouTube channel was deleted today, and they're good people. They're good people, and that's just wrong. Okay, Timothy is a con man. Yeah, like I said, he falsely accused me just because I stood up for Monograph after Timothy was accusing him of some terrible stuff that he couldn't prove. Okay. Woody Hayes. You're like a born person, aren't you? He says here, I say we vote in the most communist MOFO on the next ticket and get the party started. In other words, if they want it, let's kickstart it and let's get working. Trump is killing us slowly. And what have I said? I believe that there's been a change in Trump. I think he really does see it now, as myself and Alex Jones said it. A lot of you'll say, well, Alex Jones, but Headlines with a Voice has noticed this difference too, and he came out with those things about, well, he's finally realized that the coup is also against the American people, but they do have to act. Without making arrests. First of all, he looks weak. Number two, his base is starting to doubt him. I don't care what the rallies look like. I'm frankly sick and tired of rallies. Okay, sick and tired of them. Yeah, Christina Wilson says all this deleting channels has to stop or we should leave en masse. Yeah, they keep talking about doing something about it and nothing gets done. He signed an executive order on that and voter fraud and transparency now, and also on the stealing the resources. I don't see any action. I don't. And that's been my problem with Trump all along. Okay, who the hell is Timothy? Why should I give a... Yeah, you don't have to, tinfoil hat. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, Headlines with a Voice. Someone's been accusing Doug Hagman of being a pedo. That's exactly right. That goes into this. That's when Craig Sawyer, Nancy, jumped into this, okay? This whole thing, a Monograph and Agent 19 were pointing out all these problems with Timothy Holmseth and Field McConnell of Able Danger, and then a group of other people, I don't want to keep naming them, and accusing Doug Hagman of this, and that was too much, and that's when Craig Sawyer dropped in. Doug Hagman, first of all, there's no evidence. They never presented any evidence. They just make the accusation, and that's what it is. So it's this Timothy Holmseth guy, and unfortunately, Field McConnell, who's a retired Marine Corps aviator, who I had some dealings with in the past that I thought were good, and he turned as soon as he got Timothy Holmseth, and he's accusing me of the same thing. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with these people. Yeah, Hazel L. Yeah, that's right. Daniel Lee is calling Hagman and John B. Wells. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They're also accusing John B. Wells of that too. No evidence. They're just stirring up. Now, there's a very good possibility that these people are being manipulated by the intelligence community to make a big deal about all of these innocent people so that we'll stop looking at the truly guilty ones. Do you see how that would work? Don't see what I'm doing with this hand, look at this one. Do you see how that works? And so I don't know that Field McConnell would do that deliberately, but that's what's happening to him. He's being used by the wrong side. That's what's happening. And these other two, this Daniel Lee character and Timothy Holmseth, bad stuff. Okay, let's keep going here. Yes, Liza Jean, thank you for bringing it up. She says, Woody Hayes, I'm sad that Assange is dying slowly in jail, but POTUS praised WikiLeaks when he was running. I know. See, there's another thing. I just don't get it. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't get it. And as you know, I've likened what Trump did to Assange with what Peter did to Jesus, denying him 3 times. It makes no sense to me. Trump stands tonight at the rally. He says, "I'm going to protect your Second Amendment," but he's the one that started the red flag laws. He really pushed it. He waved. He gave the flag to go ahead and do it. And look how it's been misused. They took an 84-year-old Korean War veteran was talking about the school resource officer, the police officer or the guard or whatever that's supposed to be at the school, leaving and going off campus and seeing his friends or having lunch or whatever, leaving the school unguarded. And so this 84-year-old veteran, I think it was in Florida, was talking about this travesty in a cafe. This is how red flag laws get misused. A server heard him talking, just assumed that he was talking about, doing something bad, called the police. They came to the cafe and took him out, went to his home, took his weapons, and then I guess he's being evaluated. And of course, they can't talk about it because it's an ongoing investigation. Trump, that's your fault. And there's going to be more of this. California and New York are going crazy with this stuff. And apparently Florida, which I thought was a pretty good state, is doing the same thing. Okay. I hope I'm not overmodulating too much. Okay. Yeah, Devin Tarrington. Wow, Roy, they accuse you. Yeah, crazy. Well, that's what I'm saying. See, they're doing it for clicks, for as Craig Sawyer said, for money, as Monograph has pointed out. And I do believe that it's it looks very similar to a disinformation campaign, an intelligence operation to me. It does. Okay. Yeah, Woody Hayes says, now this is interesting, the controlled right told us if we didn't vote for Trump, we'd have first, second, and fourth under attack and more. Trump seems to be helping the agenda. Nothing has changed. Well, I can't disagree with you, Woody. Haven't I been saying that? Trump has been weak on supporting the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. I've been crying that tune for a long time. I agree. I worry that Trump's a placeholder. I've talked about that. However, maybe he's moving in the right direction now. All I can say is we won't know for sure unless some arrests are made. And I know that's going to throw the country into probably a hot civil war. But I read you what Antifa said. Let me read it to you again, okay? Let me read it to you again so that you know, okay? I just want to make sure that you're aware of this. Okay, here we go. We cannot allow fascism. They call us fascists. They're communists, for sure. They want authoritarian government. We cannot allow fascism to continue to rise and will not tolerate its presence. Well, I'll tell you what, if Trump doesn't stop tolerating this seditious coup, maybe even treasonous coup, we're going to be in for the fight of our lives, and I've already said that. And he's got people out here that he can tap right now to start doing something about it. And nothing. Crickets. Gavin Hillebold. Roy, the big city bright lights background is not you, man. Get a nice mountain scene like a Grand Teton. So I have some of those at night too. Okay, don't worry. I wanted to start out with this one because it is at Waikiki. It's in Hawaii. And I didn't know if everybody can see mountains. I don't know if many people have gone to Waikiki. So that's the reason why I did. But thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that. Oh, hey, Headlines with a Voice says she talked to Craig Sawyer about it. He's pissed. Give him my regards, would you please? Just tell him that Roy Potter says hello and thanks for all he does. And I'm sorry this has happened to him. Yeah, Field is in trouble. He's in Field. McConnell is in trouble. Pam Newton, and he's violated several laws. Some are felonies. We'll see what happens. Not to mention the civil suits that he's opened himself up for. Dances reluctantly. This stream is doing nothing but pissing me off, buddy. Plus, I'm on slow mode. Hit me up when the shooting stars. Take care, guys. I understand. This is late, and I understand it. Like I've said before, this format late at night is not going to be for politics. As soon as I can get some things lined up, it'll be more along the lines of some fun things. At least that's what I'm planning. Some people that can tell us interesting stuff that doesn't get everybody all riled up. Okay, that's kind of where I want this nightcap to go, because that's what a nightcap is, right? It's kind of wait till you see what I have for you at the end of this broadcast, though. I think that'll be a sample. Well, not a very good sample, but a sample. Yes, I am. CamelTube 9429. Absolutely. You saying that Phil McConnell's a fraud? Yep. I know some of his agents that were very loyal to him. I mean, extremely loyal, and they had to drop him. Okay, they're friends of mine. Okay, so I have some inside scoop on what's been going on. Yes, he's lost it. I mean, he was always a trash mouth. He was always yakking too much, kind of like I'm doing now, I guess. Yeah, but that's a personality trait by and large. But apparently, as time went on, it developed into something else, and so these agents left him. Yeah, they did. Yeah, and remember, I first said, almost over a year and a half ago now, I guess, that I thought Trump had been compromised. This weakness on the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments is just too much, and I'm expecting a turnaround if he doesn't do something. As I've said, Woody Hayes and Liza Jean knows my position very well. Woody, all he was then was a placeholder, just a slow-mo Hillary. And I don't want to see that. And I'm hoping that's not the way this ends up, because we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, we're in trouble anyway, but it's going to get worse. Yes, Laura Foster, thank you for bringing that up. Oh, hold on, I skipped one. Amazing Polly, Suzanne Kachi, is that how you say her name? Kachi, something like that. Talking about Amazing Polly. Yeah, Amazing Polly's pretty good. Laura Foster, did you see Comey's tweet resembling a JFK motorcade? Yes, I did, and I tweeted it out also, and I mentioned that it does look like Dealey Plaza, yes. Gabunny, Roy, go pull the court records from Maine, I guess is where that is. The entire county in Maine is crooked. She is not a victim. Oh, you're talking... Oh. I'm not sure who you're talking about. If you're talking about what's going on in Florida, I'm not sure what you're talking about there, God Bunny. I'm sorry. I lost track of what we were talking about with you personally. But she's... Oh, court records from Minnesota. That's what you're saying. She's not in Minnesota. She's in Florida. Okay? She's in Florida. This Picasso lady's in Florida. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter what they're saying about Picasso. They accuse me of being a pedophile. They've accused Doug Hagman of being a pedophile. They've accused Monograph and Agent 19 of being pedophiles and human traffickers. And apparently John B. Wells, and probably a lot of others. It's hogwash. It's baloney. I'm sorry, good bunny. It just is. Yeah, L.A. Bailey, bring our troops home to protect us and our president. Yep, that's exactly right. And that's why the deep state and why the Democrat. I mean, first of all, they've got investments in the military-industrial complex. You can't. I don't believe for a minute that they're really concerned about the people in Syria or the Christians or anything else. They're not. That's just the ploy to try to make you feel guilty. It's really about their money and power. And yes, we need our troops here because this is going to go bad, and we're going to need to be able to trust people. And you're going to have a hard enough time because the services are so infiltrated by leftists and IC people, CIA in particular. Yeah, Carol Reed's talking about all hell's breaking loose south of the border over this drug war. Okay, I'll be checking that a little later. Okay. Edelson James, you retracted your message. I always look forward to yours. I didn't see what it was though. Citizen watching, Roy, you're way off base. Simply can't listen to you any longer. Fine. Yeah, you think that hurts my feelings? Citizen watching? Not a bit. You don't know me very well, do you? Oh, Vicky Davis, you're here. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Yes, that's exactly right. Field got involved with a group of people who make false accusations. That's correct. And he fell into it. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what happened. But, Vicky, what I'm concerned about is that he did it for, I don't know if he was losing viewers or income or what, but that's kind of what it looks like his motivations were. He had no reason to accuse me. He knows that I know his people. He knows he interviewed me at least once, maybe twice. I've talked to him on the phone and on text messages and emails, and there was no reason for him to join that accusation against me. No reason whatsoever. Something's wrong. Star Wars Green Hill. Yeah, I don't know. I got to figure out how to get rid of that. Okay, like I said, this is the first time I've used this system, so there are a few bugs I got to work out. Yeah, tinfoil hat. I can't disagree with you. It's been 3 years and Trump is still a big talker and no action. He did it again tonight. Your Second Amendment. I'm going to protect your Second Amendment. He's been the worst president against our Second Amendment in a number of years. I know. Yeah, Pam Newton, that's exactly what I was saying earlier. Trump plays along with the Democrats and then he backs down. It's how he plays. He's fed up and things are changing. Alex Jones was in Dallas. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, he can't back down though. He's got to stop that. He's got to and he has to go on the offensive. He does. Yeah, I believe he is fed up and I believe he wants to change, but unless he takes decisive action, seizes the initiative, Pam, it's not going to make any difference. Nah, it's not my hair color. If that were the case, my hand wouldn't be having a green halo too. I think it's the type of lighting I'm using with the green screen. I actually had a soft light that I was going to use, a box light, and just as I turned it on tonight, the bulb blew. So that probably is a part of the problem. Trump is nothing but action. Well, he's done a lot of action, but he's failed on the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, grotesquely failed. Tom Arnold, I know, he tweeted a thread out. Again, as Headlines with a Voice said, where's the Secret Service? Where are they? I mean, I can see they could have grabbed Schumer by now. They could have grabbed Schiff by now. They could have grabbed Pelosi by now. Not to mention Phil Mudd, Brennan, Clapper, Comey. Yeah, the guillotine thing. Yeah. That the Antifa's talking about. Okay. I'm just speeding down through here, okay? I don't mean to have dead silence on this, but yeah, guillotines, Pancake Master, guillotines, you got to be careful there. There were a bunch of guillotines that people thought, and I'm not saying they aren't being put in some of these FEMA camps, but there's a part to a fighter jet that's called the guillotine. It's for ejection. So you got to be careful when you see those. They're not always what you might think. Yeah, I like that. My 2 cents worth. Antifa is left, not right. More projection from the evil ones. I agree. I agree. A lot of them don't even know. They're just, I hate to say it, but they're thumb-sucking, diaper-wearing wannabes. You know, they're nothing. Yeah, hold on, Edelson James. I know. You know, there's a cartoon that came out a while back. There are these vultures sitting on a branch, and he says, "Patience, hell, I want to kill something." Have you ever seen that? You know, I understand, but it's got to come from the right direction. If Trump is holding us back, if Trump is holding back the military and the marshals and the Secret Service, can't be done. Okay, yeah, somebody wants to make, well, Jordan Peterson is Antichrist, not traditionalist law. Well, he's a philosopher. Okay, I know what you're saying, but he does have the ideas of sex and respect and all of that in the proper format and understanding, as far as I'm concerned. I like Jordan Peterson. He's not really an atheist. And I understand where he's coming from. Okay, I do. I'm not going to call him an antichrist. I don't believe that. Yeah, oh yeah, freedom fighter, 57. The no laws are being pushed. They've been pushed now for what, 30 years, 25, 30 years, secretly. Yeah, I know about that. Quite a bit. And the no-hide laws are not just. They're what Jesus would call the stakes that were set up by the Pharisees and the scribes that weren't based on Torah. I agree. Yeah, sanctuary cities and states shouldn't be tolerated again. They'll go after somebody like Rick Cordell. I never remember how to say his name. Korber. They'll go after people like Rick Korber and the Bundys and people like that who are standing up for their rights, and they do nothing against these mayors and these governors of these places that are defying the law to protect Americans from invasion. I know. And Barr is doing nothing. I saw a cartoon where it says, "Where's Barr?" And then you flip it over and he's playing bagpipes. He and Durham might have some good stuff coming, but that's the problem. They keep saying it's coming. And I'm really afraid that Barr is going to say in the end, we're not going to do anything because it was all just a big misunderstanding. I really have a bad feeling that that's how it's going to be. Take a swig of Jack, Roy. It feels good. I don't like Jack. I like, let's see, what's my favorite? If I were going to drink a whiskey, what would I have? Probably Stranahan's. Not Lee Stranahan. Stranahan's. It's made in Denver. It was introduced to me by a girlfriend I had a few years ago. Her sister was graduating from college, and they had some celebration, and she bought her sister a bottle of Stranahan's. It's really expensive. They don't make a lot of it. It's out of Denver, and I think it's probably like $70 for a 750 milliliter, something like that. But it's good. I'll admit it's good. So go try some Stranahan's if you can find it. The Admiral is retired, Devin Tarrington. Admiral McRaven is retired. But the mere fact he's talking the way he is, and I pointed this out 6 months ago when he was still on active duty, I pointed out that he wouldn't be talking like that if he didn't think that there was a better than 60% chance that this coup is going to be successful. And he's a part of it. I'm telling you. I've talked about these flag officers for a long time. I don't even trust Milley. Not Millie Weaver. General Milley, okay? I don't even trust him. Woody Hayes, I know what you're saying. The impeachment is a ploy. I know Trump is complicit. Well, so far, Trump's not acting. I agree. But he has to act, or it's all going down the tubes, and maybe that's the whole idea. I have a friend, we were talking the other night about Trump's connections to, the Jared Kushner and the Lubovichers and all of that, and Israel. And I can't get into it here. It's too complicated. But, yeah, sometimes I wonder if it's really America first. Sometimes I wonder. But again, I'm bringing up what Headlines with a Voice saw and that I saw myself. I think Trump, at least in the tweets, it looked like, and I put it out a few videos ago, you remember, where he said, I finally, realize that this isn't just a coup against me. This is a coup against the American people and against our Constitution and against our First, Second, and Fourth Amendment, all the same things, and yet he's still allowing the red flag laws to go forward. Yeah, Hazel, they wanted the mineral rights, which included, the uranium. Yeah, that's right. God Bunny, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Okay? Timothy Holmseth has a problem. Okay? I am not a pedophile. John B. Wells is not a pedophile. Doug Hagman is not a pedophile. And the attacks against Craig Sawyer by these people is disgusting. I know that Timothy, another thing about the court records is, sometimes when there's no cause of action, no, I don't believe, no, there's no way. Timothy Holmseth attacked me personally. Okay? If he was legitimate, he wouldn't have done that. Bottom line. Okay? So I don't want to see it again, Gabunny. I don't want to hear it. All right? I don't want to hear it. His explanation of what happened isn't matching up with what I see on the ground. Yeah, Kathy Little, they arrested a guy with body armor, helmet, breathing mask, and a gun at the Trump rally tonight. Yeah, but who was he? Who knows? Who knows what he was doing there? Who knows? Yeah, Freedom Fighter 57. Now, that's true, too. Trump may be on their side, but they can't control him. Yeah. See, it's like I've said. We, at our level, we don't even understand the conflict between those upper elites. That's totally out of our league. It's not even like a football game where you have, this team against this team. There are things going on up there that you and I have no concept of. It has to do with money, power, technology, all those things. So, Trump may be he's doing this for himself. Could be. They still don't like him, right? They don't like him. But he's got to stop doing things that make me not want to like him and make you not want to like him because he's not standing up for what he says he is. And I've been saying that for a long time, and I really don't want to go back to that, but yeah, I am displeased. I am. And I'm tired of the excuses. Oh, BP Earthwatch is here. Howdy. Deplorable Sith, I've lost all faith in Barr. He's done nothing. Well, I just pointed out, again, Rick Korber, what the Utah attorney, Huber, who I know personally and I don't trust, look what he's done to railroad him and other people. And Barr's done nothing. Barr okayed the prosecution of Flynn's partner. And then that was thrown out for lack of evidence. Well, what the hell? Why did Barr do that? I know. That's why I bring up the one where they said Barr's doing nothing, and you flip the page and he's playing bagpipes. Jennifer Krager, I agree. Trump has done something where he's laid bare the corruption that's not just in D.C. but around the world. He has also had thousands of pedos exposed. Be careful there. Be careful there. These are all low scumbags on the very lowest rungs. There are a few exceptions, Rainier, Epstein, but then look what happened to Epstein. Why did Barr and Trump allow him to be placed in a confinement facility where these things could happen? That's the last place I would have put a witness and a suspect of that stature. Barr was an absolute incompetent idiot. Or complicit. And maybe Trump too. I hope not. Yeah, big skies. Yeah, Donald. Well, yeah, why didn't he released some of the JFK stuff, but not all of it? And then we've got 9/11, and then we've got the Las Vegas shooting, and we have the Oklahoma City bombing, and we have the 1992-93 World Trade Center bombing. A lot of that's already out. We already know what happened there, by and large. We have, the WMDs, the Patriot Act. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I know. Feel like we're playing tiddlywinks. Liza G. says, the real BP Earthwatch. Glad you're here. Yeah, good. Yeah, I've watched Jesse's stuff for a long time. Yeah, oh, that's right, Janet, we the people. That's right. Another thing that Trump did, he signed that order where Monsanto and all those people don't have to label GMO food. Yep. I can see him doing some things because he can't know everything about everything. Where I draw the line is the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, and I've been doing that for 3 years. Some other things I can understand, you might not know all the details, whatever. This one's bad, of course. The GMO thing is bad. But the real barometer in my situation is where he stands on the First, Second, and Fourth. Okay. Yeah, the Epstein investigation. You notice, now that's in the past. They move along. They change the subject matter and the problems. They keep you they change it so. I've said it before. You can never resolve the last problem before they throw you another one. This is called mass in military terms. They overwhelm you with mass, and they're doing it with information. Most of it's disinformation or misinformation, or in this case, like with Epstein, it's either incompetence or complicity, as I've already pointed out. Yeah, and I've said that before, Finest Planet, that we might be being pacified. I know. Okay. Yeah, real BP Earthwarts. Article 2, Section 3 would do it. Yeah, I think Article 2, Section 2 and Article 2, Section 3. And I've been, as you know, Jesse, I've been talking about that for a long time. Woody Hayes, Barr works for Trump, end of story. Nah, careful there. That's the way it's supposed to be, but I'm not sure that's absolutely the case. Yeah, Woody Hayes again, the deregulated GMOs, why nobody criticized Trump. Oh, I did. Several other people did. It's just, I don't know. Trump is crushing big tech. I hope so, tinfoil hat. I still don't see it. Zuckerberg seems to be in some trouble, but I don't see it. Not yet. Janet Smith about saying Chuck Schumer and ISIS and Saudi Arabia being involved. I know what you're saying. Yep. Yeah, Gavin Hillwald. Trump is the chief law enforcement officer over all Justice Department agencies. So what seems to be the holdup? Well, the excuse will be that he can't get anybody to do the job. No, I'm afraid he's loaded his people up with the same folks that are the problem, and that's been ongoing. Yeah, Scott McDonald. I have a lot of respect for Paul Craig Roberts. Scott McDonald is saying Paul Craig Roberts said that Barr will do nothing and will let Trump suffer as a message to anyone who might want to ever try to clean up government will get nowhere. That is the message that's being sent. It is the message that's being sent. They want us to submit to the tyranny and the loss of our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and the perfect law of liberty. That's who we're fighting against, ladies and gentlemen. That's who we stand against. And it's going to be a very dangerous thing to try to stand against it. And it's going to get worse. Trump needs to give us competent authority cover. Maybe he never will. Oh, no. Potter, envy me greatly, Bear. Potter is modest. If he says strike, we can do it. Zuckerberg hasn't stopped us. It's Twitter. Zuckerberg knows everything. But no. I'm not modest. No. I speak from experience, my friend. Don't you go out there and do something on your own. You act defensively. I'm telling you. Yeah. Albert L787, my point exactly. Without the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, our country is doomed. We'll lose the Republic, and I don't see Trump doing his job. I hate this to be a Trump bashing session, but again, he talked about it at the rally tonight. Oh, the Second Amendment, your right to free speech. What's he done? Signed some unenforceable executive orders, number one. Number two, told the social platforms that he would use them to surveil people to see if their weapons should be taken, and did the red flag laws. I know. Yeah, John Clark, if you wait too long for arrest, they will start arresting us. I made that point to Trump very early on. I said they'd go after his family, his friends. What have they done? They've gone after his family, his friends, Giuliani, Stone. Yes, they're trying to jail Alex Jones right now. Trumped up tax charges or something, Yeah, we were promised the IG report tomorrow, Friday. But as I said, I predicted that they would say they've got to postpone it again, and they did that. And they're saying sometime next week. Well, we'll see. 5G is everywhere. Some places they just haven't fired it up yet, but it's pretty much all in. Oh, Eliza Jean, I do agree with that. I know it sounds like I'm waffling on this. I do think he loves America. I think he does, but he's not in politics, Liza Jean. He's not in a political game. He's in a war, and he just doesn't seem to get that. That's a good point. BP Earthwatch says Trump caught my attention today when he said our troops would not fight in other countries unless they paid us. What the hell? Okay. Profane. He doesn't love America, Roy. He loves Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is what's on the dollar bill, isn't it? New order of the world. Yeah, I know. Okay. I agree. Good punny. POTUS needs to act, period, or get someone to act on his behalf. There are many who would. Haven't I been saying that? Yeah, Vicky, you're right. Trump's not getting good intelligence. But remember, he said he wouldn't get intelligence. He had his own methods of getting intelligence. Well, he certainly can't get it from the deep state, and if he is, that's a mistake. But apparently the intelligence he's also getting is still not doing any what. I know people out on the street that know more about how to handle some of this stuff than these advisors of his do. It's just crazy. I don't get it. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop there. We've been going for an hour and a half. I want to thank everybody for coming. Hopefully you enjoyed the new format. Yeah, you're right. That's not quite my thing, but that's Waikiki, everybody, if you haven't been there. So I've got some technical things to fix. The little green halo that's around me, I think it has something to do with the lighting. And I'm not sure. Like I said, I had a soft white light and the bulb went out. So at any rate, I've got some technical things I have to fix, but this is kind of the kind of routine that I want to have from now on, is this type of thing. Go check out the story on Rick Korber. It was in Salt Lake City on the 15th, his sentencing. You're not going to get the straight news, the truth out of the MSM, but you can at least get some of the ideas about what's going on. That's his real family. I want to show another picture of him here. You tell me this guy's a criminal, right? Oops, let me move that back over where it's supposed to be. Let me blow this up so you can see this great gentleman and his family. Okay. Really? All those kids without a dad now. Our government is shameful. And this is Barr's fault. This is Utah U.S. Attorney Huber's fault. This is the state of Utah's fault. And I'd like to say some other things, but I'll restrain myself there. So there we are. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I tried to answer a lot of the chat tonight. What we're watching for, of course, right now is that we want to see some arrests. There is nothing else that will fix things unless they start. Even Lionel Nation, Lionel, he and Mrs. L. Lionel says, you got to hit him, Trump. You got to sting him. You got to make him sit up and pay attention. I forgot about my drink. It's not coffee, not this late at night. I won't tell you what it is, but it's not coffee. All right. As Lionel said, he needs to hit him. He needs to hit him hard. He needs to make some arrests to wake him up. He needs to move the Marines and the Marshals against them yesterday. And how long have I been saying that? In the meantime, realize, ladies and gentlemen, that really our only help is probably going to be God himself. I heard Alex talking about that the other day, but it's true. The source of all truth and knowledge, all love, all discernment. We need his help. And yes, it's his help. If you believe something else, that's fine. The important thing is that you understand that we need to ask for help and open up our hearts and our minds and allow the Spirit of God to enter. Not to act based upon emotion or upon vindictiveness, but on righteous principles. And if you don't know what those are, time to start finding out. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. And God bless you and yours. Okay? And we'll do this again. I'll if anything important happens, I'll do an impromptu like I always do. As I said, I'll see if I can fix some of these technical issues. I might have to go back to, no green screen. Who knows? My lighting isn't the best, I guess, or whatever. Maybe the camera. Not a professional techie guy. Things have changed even since when I was doing my filming in 2009 and 10. So, okay. So let's end this one with something that might be a little more nightcappy, so to speak. maybe you'll enjoy this. Just like a minute of relaxation. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.